My son, I love you. That night, Mama Zara cast a spell on her son while he was sleeping. Once upon a time, in a quaint village named Kazana, lived a young woman named Lena. Lena was known across the village for her beauty and kind heart. Her smile could light up the darkest night, and many men sought her hand in marriage. But despite their offers, Lena turned each of them away. Deep down, she yearned for a love built on trust and kindness, afraid that rushing into marriage might lead her into the arms of the wrong man, one who would mistreat her and strip her of her joy. Years passed, and as Lena approached her 30s, the village started to talk. Many began to call her the cursed one, while others whispered behind her back, suggesting that something must be wrong with her. Friends and family urged her to settle down, especially her mother, who grew more insistent every day. But Lena stood firm, telling her mother, "I just haven't met the man I want to share my life with." While others around her married and had families, Lena remained true to herself, carrying herself with grace, unaffected by the judgments around her. One afternoon, while Lena was heading to the market, she took a shortcut through a winding forest path. Suddenly, she felt a sharp sting on her ankle. A snake had bitten her. She cried out in pain, calling for help, though the thick trees swallowed her voice. Just as she thought all hope was lost, a tall, kind-looking man named Jabari happened to pass by and saw her struggling on the ground. Without hesitation, he ran to her side, lifted her into his arms and took her to the village healer. The healer treated Lena, and as she rested, Jabari sat by her side, keeping watch. When she opened her eyes and saw him there, something in her heart shifted. She realized she'd finally met someone who made her feel safe and understood. Jabari, too, felt an undeniable connection. It was love at first sight. Soon he asked for her hand in marriage, and Lena joyfully accepted, thrilled to have finally found her soulmate. They married in a beautiful ceremony, and Lena moved into Jabari's home. They shared a peaceful, loving life until the day Jabari's mother, Mama Zara, arrived unannounced. Zara was notorious in the village for her temper and obsession with dark magic. People feared her, believing she had supernatural powers granted by the river spirit of Kazana. When Lena first met her mother-in-law, she welcomed her with warmth, serving her food and doing her best to make Zara feel at home. But Mama Zara, pretending to be pleasant, quickly turned hostile once her son was away. She complained to Jabari, saying, "The food Lena served me was tasteless, and there wasn't even any meat in it. She's too frugal and lacks the proper respect." Knowing his mother's temper, Jabari tried to brush off her complaints, hoping she would calm down. But Zara grew increasingly relentless, nitpicking everything Lena did. Each day, Lena found herself doing more, cleaning every corner, cooking elaborate meals, and attending to Zara's every whim. No matter how hard Lena tried, it was never enough. Zara seemed determined to make her life miserable. Soon, Lena found herself feeling like a servant in her own home, with Zara constantly ordering her around while Jabari was away. Yet, Lena endured, believing her patience would bring peace. Finally, one evening, she confessed her struggles to Jabari, hoping he would understand. Jabari was heartbroken to see his wife suffering and confronted his mother, asking her to show Lena respect and kindness. Zara was furious that her son had taken Lena's side. That very night, as Jabari slept, Zara cast a dark spell upon him. This spell made him oblivious to his mother's cruelty, leaving Lena to face her tormentor alone. With Jabari under her control, Zara's behavior worsened. Lena became more of a servant than a wife, as Zara began forcing her to run errands and complete endless tasks, making life a constant struggle. Yet, Lena held on, hoping for a miracle. One day, to her joy, Lena discovered she was pregnant. She shared the news with Jabari, but begged him to keep it a secret from his mother, fearing Zara's reaction. Unfortunately, Zara overheard the conversation and began plotting to keep Lena from leaving. Late one night, she snuck into Lena's room and added a sleeping potion to her food. Lena fell into a deep sleep, unable to carry out her plans to return to her family. When she awoke, she realized what had happened. But by then, it was too late. Determined to break Lena's spirit, Zara cast another spell on Jabari, making him indifferent to his wife's well-being and forbidding him to give her money or support. Lena was left to fend for herself, taking on small jobs around the village to survive and provide for her unborn child. Despite Zara's cruelty, Lena persevered, though she grew weaker each day. As the months passed, Lena's pregnancy reached full term, but labor didn't come. 10, then 11 months passed, and still there was no sign of the baby. Desperate, Lena prayed for help, enduring Zara's taunts and mocking laughter. She turned to the village healer, who revealed that Zara had cursed her pregnancy to prevent her from giving birth. Only a ritual in the sacred river of Khazana could lift the curse. With her mother's help, Lena made the journey to the river. As she bathed in the sacred waters, she felt strength returning to her body. 3 days later, she went into labor and, after hours of struggle, gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Her heart overflowed with joy and relief. Back at Jabari's home, Zara had brought another woman to replace Lena as her son's wife. But this new woman, named Amani, was the daughter of a powerful shaman. When Zara tried to control Amani, she was met with resistance. Amani possessed powers of her own, having inherited her father's strength. One night, as Zara attempted to poison her food, Amani caught her in the act and decided to let Zara taste her own medicine. The next morning, Zara unknowingly ate from the poisoned pot she had prepared for Amani. As the poison took effect, she lay down in her room, never to wake again. With Zara gone, the spell over Jabari lifted, and he began searching for Lena, desperate to make amends. When Jabari found her, she had already given birth to their son. Tearfully, he begged for her forgiveness, explaining how his mother had bewitched him. Lena, with her kind heart, forgave him and returned to their home, hopeful that they could finally find peace. With Zara's shadow no longer looming over them, Lena, Jabari, and their son lived as a united family, filled with love and happiness. And in the village, people spoke of Zara's downfall as a lesson. Harm intended for others has a way of coming back to those who cast it. That night, Mama Zara whispered ancient words over her sleeping son Jabari, casting a spell to make him indifferent to any suffering Lena might face. Under this dark spell, Jabari would remain unresponsive, unmoved by his mother's cruel actions toward his wife. Now that Zara had her son under her control, she turned Lena into a full-time servant, assigning her endless chores and belittling her at every turn. Jabari, oblivious to the mistreatment his wife endured, looked on in silence. Lena, unaware of the spell, could only wonder why her once-loving husband seemed distant and unconcerned. Months passed as she continued to endure her mother-in-law's torment, holding on to the hope that one day things would improve. One day, Lena discovered she was pregnant with her first child. Overjoyed, she confided in Jabari, asking him to keep it a secret from Zara. But unknown to them, Zara was eavesdropping and learned of her daughter-in-law's pregnancy. Angered that Lena might find happiness, Zara began plotting to stop her from leaving the household. Late that night, Zara sneaked into Lena's room, sprinkling a strange substance into her food. After eating, Lena felt dizzy and weak, drifting into a heavy sleep that lasted well into the night. When she awoke, she felt strange, as if something was deeply wrong. Realizing that her food had been tampered with, she confronted Zara, who was shocked by Lena's audacity to speak out. Furious, Zara vowed to make Lena's life even more miserable. The very next night, Zara cast an even darker spell on her son. Now Jabari would obey her every command. She instructed him to stop supporting Lena, cutting off any money or help he would normally provide. Her goal was to see Lena starve, alone and abandoned, in her own home. Determined to survive for her child, Lena began taking on small tasks around the village, earning meager wages to feed herself and buy the essentials for her unborn child. Despite her suffering, she persevered, surprising Zara, who expected her to give up. Seeing that her previous spells hadn't broken Lena, Zara decided to cast one final curse, this time targeting the pregnancy itself. She cast a spell designed to prevent Lena from delivering her child on time, intending to trap her in an endless pregnancy. Months passed, and though Lena had reached full term, there was no sign of labor. 10 months, 11 months. Each day grew harder as Lena's strength waned. She wept, praying for mercy, yet Zara only mocked her suffering, taunting her for daring to stand up to her. Under her mother-in-law's malicious gaze, Lena struggled with each passing day, her husband still oblivious and under Zara's powerful spell. Zara's cruelty reached a new height when she brought a new woman, Amina, to marry Jabari, effectively sending Lena away from her own home, even in her condition. Lena returned to her mother, heartbroken but determined to survive. As Lena recounted her ordeal, her mother was filled with sorrow for all that her daughter had endured. Taking Lena in, she vowed to care for her until she could regain her strength. As time wore on, Lena's pregnancy stretched to the 18th month, and her health began to fail. Her mother, fearing for her life, took her to a wise healer in a distant village. After examining Lena, the healer solemnly informed them that the pregnancy was under a powerful curse. He explained that only the sacred waters of the river Khazara, the very river from which Zara had drawn her powers, could break the spell. Determined to save her daughter and unborn grandchild, Lena's mother made the long journey with her to the river. There, Lena bathed in the sacred waters, and within days she began to feel her strength returning. 3 days after her ritual, Lena went into labor. After hours of intense pain, she finally gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Her heart swelled with joy and relief as she held her son, grateful to have survived Zara's curse. Meanwhile, back at Jabari's home, Zara's plans took an unexpected turn. The woman she had brought for Jabari, Amina, was the daughter of a powerful shaman. When Zara tried to control Amina, she met resistance. Amina, knowing of her own powers, refused to bow to Zara's cruelty and instead stood her ground. One night, Zara attempted to poison Amina's food, but Amina, sensing the malice in the air, pretended to sleep while watching Zara's every move. After Zara left, Amina switched the poisoned pot of food with Zara's own. The next morning, Zara, unaware of the switch, ate from her own poisoned meal. Within hours, she grew weak and lay down, never to wake again. With Zara's passing, the spell over Jabari broke. Realizing the extent of his mother's manipulation, he felt an overwhelming guilt for all that Lena had endured. Determined to make things right, he set out to find her. When Jabari finally located Lena, she was recovering with her newborn son in her mother's home. Tearfully, he begged for her forgiveness, explaining the curse his mother had placed on him. True to her kind nature, Lena forgave him, recognizing that he too was a victim of Zara's cruelty. She returned with him to their home, ready to start fresh as a family. With Zara's shadow lifted, Lena, Jabari, and their son could finally live in peace. The villagers whispered of the power of karma, seeing Zara's fate as a reminder that harm wished upon others often returns to the one who casts it. As word of Zara's fate spread through the village, the people took her story as a lesson. What we wish upon others will find its way back to us. Through kindness, patience, and resilience, Lena triumphed, proving that love and integrity are stronger than any dark magic.